Hi, I'm Caroline Mitchell, Canine Behaviourist at Good Doggy. Consistency is something that, as a dog owner, you'll have heard people talk about all the time. Behaviourists and trainers constantly bang on about consistency. And there's a really good reason for that, because when we're consistent, it means that our dogs can understand what we want easier. They're less confused. And when they know what we want, they can actually make a bigger effort to try and achieve it. So it speeds our training up a lot, and it leads to a more consistent dog. So consistency is a really big deal. But how do we achieve it? So for me, I think that my biggest tip is to plan what you're doing. So the first thing you can plan is the space that you're going to work in. Depending on what you're going to try and work on, your space may be different. So if you're working on a dog that has issues with reactivity around other dogs, then my best choice of space would be a very large open space, somewhere that you can see all around you. You can see potential triggers that are in your area. You can choose the ones that you want to work with, rather than maybe getting trapped down little alleys and things like that. If you want to work on doorbell training, you're going to set up your hallway space so that it's clear and ready. Everything you need is going to be in the right place. If you want to do recall training, you might book a secure dog field where you can work with a bit more confidence, knowing that your dog will be safe. So the first thing is planning your space. Think about what kind of training you want to do, what things might go wrong in terms of your space choice, and find the best area for you to work in. Once you've planned your space, you'll want to plan your time. So take time out of your normal activities to actually work on your dog. There's no good trying to mix training with a walk when you're trying to take the kids to school, or if you're also trying to work in the background. Maybe you're working from home and you're trying to work on your dog's behaviour, maybe when you're on a Zoom call or something like that. So plan your time. You maybe have to set up a scenario so your dog feels like they're working in a normal type of situation. So for example, if you are working on your dog's behaviour when you're on Zoom, maybe record a Zoom previously, have that ready, and then set that off to play on your computer so that you can pretend you're in the middle of a Zoom call. And that gives you an opportunity to work on your dog without feeling the normal pressures of, the people that you're in a meeting with, trying to pay attention to what you need to learn, put your input in, and just be present in that meeting. None of those things matter because you've set aside the right amount of time. In the same way, don't try and go anywhere if you're going to be doing training on a walk. If you're trying to teach your dog to walk maybe to heel or on a loose lead, and you're doing a lot of stopping and starting to help them know when they are doing it well and when they're not doing it well. If you put yourself under pressure to go somewhere, to be somewhere, to pick the kids up or drop them off, or get to work or something like that, or even if you're just going on a normal walk, then you'll find that that pressure makes you impatient, and your consistency will drop a lot. So you're looking to create situations and set aside that time so that you can create those situations, and then you can repeat and repeat and repeat, because repetition is really good for our dogs. It helps them learn what they did wrong and helps them to learn what they did right. And when you repeat that, it gets them to put what they've just learned into practice. So whatever it is that you're working on, maybe you're working on answering the front door, you're going to have to set aside time for that. Set your front door space up. You're going to plan to have a visitor come, and they will ring the door bell, let you go through your routine, your ritual that you've created for your dog. And the first few times are really the learning curve. That's your dog figuring out what it is that you want. Again, if you are taking your time and being patient, you'll be clearer about what you want from your dog. But by the time you get to the fourth or fifth go, your dog will have learned things that you do want, things that you don't want, and will actually be putting those into practice, and you'll be starting to see some real progress. So plan your training time so that you can repeat what you need to do at least 4 or 5 times. If it's something like answering the door, or something like passing a trigger in the park, doing a recall, you might even try to get 6 or 7 or even 10 recalls in one small period of time for training. So you've planned your space, you've planned your time. Now you need to plan what exactly it is you want to achieve with your dog. In this video here, it's really obvious that the dog has no clue what is expected of him. The person that's handling him with the treat has no clue exactly what their aims were, what the goals of the session were. The dog doesn't understand what he got rewarded for at all. So planning that little interaction would have made that a lot more successful. Have your treat ready before you start. Dogs don't really get on well with people that fumble with their treats. So have your treat ready. Know exactly what it is that you want your dog to do, and know exactly what it is that will earn that treat, and be ready to give it to them at the exact moment that they do it. Would have sharpened up that whole little exercise in that video, and the dog would have come away knowing exactly what they've done right. When we fumble with treats, by the time the dog actually gets the treat, it's become very unclear exactly what it was that earned the treat. The longer the gap between getting their reward and the behaviour that they did, the harder it is for them to connect those two things together. And this happens a lot with things like recall training. So if you don't have your treat ready, you may do a great recall. You've called your dog, he's come running to you full of enthusiasm, he's arrived in front of you, and now you're searching for your treat. You're going through all your pockets, you're going through your bags. By the time you found your treat, your dog's doing something else. They've sat down, they're wandering off, they're thinking about their next playtime, there's a dog showed up in the distance. So by the time they get their actual treat, they're not going to connect that to actually coming back to you. But if you had your treat ready before you called, the dog come running straight to you, the treat's ready, the dog takes the treat as soon as they arrive in front of you. There's no interruptions, no other behaviours, and it's very obvious to the dog exactly what they did right. Same works with heel work. So if you're doing the stop and start technique, getting your dog to walk on a loose lead, you'll start to move forward. If you're clear about what you're trying to achieve, then as soon as the lead goes tight, you'll be ready to stop. And if you do that very quickly, your dog will very quickly be able to connect stopping with the lead being tight. That's not what he wants to achieve. Your dog wants to keep going. And then as soon as the lead goes loose, if you're ready to move forward again, then he'll be able to connect loose lead with moving forward. And if you are very quick and consistent with that timing, so again, knowing exactly what is going to make you perform one action or another before you start your session, means that you can be very clear with your dog exactly what happened, what went right, what went wrong, and they can learn very quickly what exactly it is that's going on. So once they figured out that loose lead means go, they'll be inclined to avoid the tight lead. So once they start to feel the lead tighten up, then they'll want to loosen that tension as soon as possible, because they don't want you to stop. They want to just keep going. They want to get to where they're going. So planning exactly what it is that you want your dog to do beforehand and being ready for a treat will make you much more consistent just in that situation. So planning is the key to all of this. Planning your location, planning your time, planning your treats, being ready, all of these things, just a few simple changes will make you instantly more consistent in the training that you do with your dog. Enjoy, take care, bye bye.